Hello, this is Talon from the comic panel. There were some audio issues in recording this episode, so I added some subtitles when it was particularly bad. Sorry for the inconvenience.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to the comic panel. Sorry, we had to take a break for technical difficulties. I'm Cody,
I'm Shawenta.
and yeah, there we go. Now I can hear Shawenta, my guest host, um, or co-host. Guest host would imply not all the time. Um, anyway, so as I was saying before, we read Animal Man by Grant Morrison this week, and it had art by uh, more
Chaz
than one person.
Truog,
Yeah.
Tom Grumet, and then the inker was Doug Hazelwood, letter John Costanza, Tajana Wood for colorist, and Brian Bolan for covers.
hmm Yeah.
I love those
Um,
covers, man.
oh yeah, they are pretty wild. Yeah, and also, if you missed it before we took our short break, Talon is not joining us today, but Jake will be later on in the program. So, getting into Animal Man, though, gosh, a lot of this book surprised me a lot more than I thought it was going to. Like, I've read it before, and I was just like, there's so much that I just didn't remember, and then I was like shocked.
I did not expect myself to like it at first, but when that first cover showed up, I was like, "Oh, I'm ready for this."
The one where he's running and there's all the animals in the background.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, it's cheesy, but I mean, you would think it's cheesy just based on that like description. He's just like running with the animals, but the colors are so nice, and the
Yeah,
inking too.
it's true. It's like that background like seems like almost like watercolor, like it's probably wash or something.
Hmm. That are
Yeah,
that are markers.
but yeah, it's really cool.
Big.
Um, and like I think that the part that like most shocked me, because like everything was like basically in line with what I remembered, but I completely forgot he got his arm chopped off.
Okay, that part was like that was awesome. I did not think they would do that.
Yeah, me neither. I was like, oh my god, why didn't I remember this?
Intense.
uh,
I think I at first I didn't really like how the comic started out with like, because I couldn't tell that he was married. Like, I don't know any of the backstory for this character. First time seeing him. Animal Man, of course, seems like a little bit of a cheesy name too.
hmm
Um, Animal Man, very uh, sideshow kind of style.
Yeah, like if any character was gonna have like a B hero kind of name, it's like wow, like at least like Spider-Man, seems like kind of cheesy when you really take it out of context. It's like, okay, so your gimmick spiders, and then you Spider-Man, but then it's like, oh wow, you just went Animal Man. You're
Very
not even
vague.
not even a specific animal.
So yeah, it starts out with like him discussing getting back into the superhero game, kind of.
hmm
And I actually really like the logistics of that. Like, there's a ton of superhuman people, honey. His wife says. So like, he's not special.
Yeah.
Why don't you join one of the smaller leagues? Don't look at the Justice League just yet. You barely worn your costume.
Yeah, it's true. It like, the outside she suggests the outsiders, and it's just like, yeah, that's like such a, you know, uh a drag. It's just like such a small team. Um Yeah. Well, you were saying though that you weren't sure what to think of it at the beginning, right?
Yeah, yeah, at first that kind of introduction I felt a little bit like I'm so used to, the ones we read starting out with like how they got their powers and seeing it all and walking through it with them.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that this is different, I mean, I'm guessing this isn't the first comic of Animal Man, right?
No, it isn't.
So, yeah, we've kind of jumped ahead to the like doing a spin on it instead of just seeing how he got his powers, like him trying to get back in the game, like prove yourself.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
And that is one thing. If I could have potentially added just one more issue onto this reading, I would have done the next issue in the edition that I read was the secret origins of Animal Man.
okay.
So yeah, it literally would have gone into like what happened, and it would have been a better telling than the original, his first appearance. Have extra
But it's kind of
details.
nice to mix it up with that kind of intro instead of just, origin story as always. And the fact that
Yeah.
he's a family too. That's
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's
that's
really
it.
different.
It is really different. I feel like, well, I don't know what was normal during this time period. So this was the 90s. I'm like, Superman was starting to have a family too. Um, and they juxtapose Animal Man and Superman as like,
They literally meet. It's
yeah.
funny. Like his arm, they handshake. He's like, oh god, my arm aches now after shaking Superman's hand.
Oh, yeah. That is like also just like that interaction felt very real to me, but also like so wild and so different than like the other, like when you're writing Superman or you're like or a Superman book and how people talk about it. It would be more like, the way that Hawkeye described Captain America when we read Hawkeye. Um but like this one's just like, I mean, in a way it is like that. Animal Man is like enamored a little bit, like just like whoa, but also it's
It's a
like,
different world for him.
yeah, yeah, totally different world. You're right. It's just like I just can't imagine like shaking somebody's hand and then being sore. It's just I think that also gives like Superman and the world like just a thin layer of danger. It's like this, like the biggest, bestest superhero that is never going to hurt anybody on purpose, like supposedly, is like, he is a danger to another superhuman just by shaking their hand.
I mean, it's almost like, I mean, celebrities, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
he's a celebrity. Animal Man gets compared to him, like, he tells his wife, he's on the payphone, like, oh my god, I just met Superman, kind of thing. And then, like, later, when he gets called out to, like, that, laboratory for, like, his big case or whatever, I guess you would say,
Mm-hmm.
they're like, oh man, we kind of wanted Superman, you know.
Yeah.
But he's busy, so
Mm-hmm.
okay, you'll do whoever you are. What can you do for us?
Yeah. And it was only because they were working on animals that the assistant was all like, "Oh yeah, I saw this guy on TV the other day." You know, like they may
I
have.
really thought it was gonna be like the thing, like he was gonna have to fight this ape mass creature that he meets, like the
Oh,
first thing. Well, it's just, I mean, what else happens in a superhero one? Like, it's like a boss fight, right? Like, you walk into the room, you see the giant body horror monster, and like the health bar appears, and it's time to fight. But
yeah.
no, which I
No.
like too.
Yeah, yeah, because it is just sad. It's all like all of these. What are they? They're chimpanzees, right? Not monkeys. They make that
Yeah, yeah, they're
distinction.
chimpanzees, I think. I don't super remember because they have several different monkey types around there.
Yes. Yeah, anyway, though, yeah, they just got combined and without any like Also, okay, skipping a little bit ahead, but not too far ahead. The person who did this, the what is he called? His name's so funny too. The white god of Kilimanjaro.
Wahama something.
Yeah. Uh, so he like his powers were like kind of confusing to me though because so he can combine things or fuse animals together, but like I don't understand. I guess yeah, his helmet can also give him the power to control animals too, I think.
And hear them also,
And
I
hear
guess.
them, yeah. So
But it also like I guess. Okay, so there's a moment where he like mind controls Animal Man, but I guess humans are animals, so like it just falls under it.
yeah. That's what you I'm glad that you reminded me of that because I was thinking about it. I was like, "Dang, Animal Man, you should absorb Superman's powers. Kryptonians are animals."
Okay, going into that part too, like the big fight between him and the White God. I'm
Mhm.
forgetting his other name they
Yeah.
find in the paper.
Mhm.
Um but when they fight, of course it's very sad. Uh I don't know. It gets a little bit like confusing. Like I feel like they really branched out with Animal Man's powers where he's just like, "Oh yeah, also I can just take this dude's power cuz humans are animals."
Yeah.
It does seem like that was like a huge part that was missing earlier where like, wow, you could do a lot with that. Does that
Yeah.
mean he can just take like somebody's like awesome writing skills or something?
Yeah, it's tough to say because so let me think about that actually as a hypothetical because it's like he can even control as we saw down like the white blood cell of another animal or his own white blood cells I guess something like that I can't remember what it would do.
Yeah, the white blood cells like I don't know how you cure anthrax through that.
Yeah.
Like separating slash combining powers. I don't get that totally.
Yeah.
Also, how do you like you fuse a rat to a dude's face and he becomes a giant rat? Not sure about that.
Yeah. I mean, well, no, because he has the power to fuse any animal into their exact, imagined combination.
I
It's not
wonder if it's like a DNA thing. Like, I mean,
yeah,
not spelled out, but it might be.
yeah. I think that is the implication. Is that yeah, it's not. It's not like glue. It's like now you have a rat in your face. It's like
That's what I thought it was. That's why I'm like, how did the cockroach happen? Like, we never got to talk about who was the cockroach, right?
yeah. Also, it seems like only one of them needs to be alive too, given the. It's like it's just like finds dead body in the morgue, just like puts cockroaches aside.
Okay, yeah, when he fuses towards the end, I was gonna say villain, he's like the bad human character, like the scientist guy who's like, yes, anthrax for military use. Yes,
Yeah.
also, we'd like to use animals as much as possible to test this out. The closer to humans they are, the better. What's wrong with this? And then, like, getting fused to one of the animals that he ended up killing with the anthrax. The fact that the animal's already dead, I really expected that to be like dead plus alive equals dead. But no, it's like dead plus alive equals alive, kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I assume that the logic there is that if death is the absence of whatever causes life, then it's like 1 plus 0.
Yeah, yeah. I guess I mean, if we're going back to the whole thing we were saying, like the DNA being spliced
Hmm.
together, then you don't technically need,
Yeah,
you know.
that's a good way to look at it too. Yeah. Um. So I feel like we should like clarify some things too. So first, Animal Man. So his powers are to take on the uh, the attributes. No, not even attributes, because that would be physical. He can take on the
Just the
perceived
powers of
powers,
animals.
yeah, of animals that are nearby.
He can also he seems to be able to do multiple at once, which wasn't clear immediately.
Yeah, that wasn't clear immediately to me either. I thought he could only do one at a time, but then it turned
It's
out.
a little OP. Okay.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. So that's Animal Man's deal, and his first like kind of villain, but also they end up not really being against each other, is the White God of Kilimanjaro, who is another kind of old time Silver Age hero, but the government and scientists had wronged him, so Animal Man was sent to take care of him.
Yeah, I think I actually recognize him
Oh, really?
from. I mean, I don't know. You don't forget superheroes in loincloths, so maybe I'm just thinking of somebody else.
Yeah, it's true. There's a few, you know. There's like uh, Conan the Barbarian, Khazar, uh, Tarzan probably had comics. Like not, I mean, probably yes, the Disney Tarzan, but I mean like the older Tarzan. um, yeah, but I would like to do a little bit more research on him, other than this appearance. Um, but yeah,
I mean, as much as like I like that part, all I can think when I see him is like that Calvin and Hobbes comic strip where Calvin like pretends he's a jungle man.
oh yeah,
Because I read that recently again.
that's good. That's good. I can imagine why. Yeah, it is kind of like ridiculous. It's all like, yeah, just like in in such a modern comic, having a jungle man type character is just like like so shocking, really.
Well, he just like breaks out of the laboratory. Like before he's trying to use like his powers to get other people to sort of do his work of like breaking out this specific ape,
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Yeah.
That which I don't I guess the ape is like his best friend or something.
Yes. Yes.
Sort
Yeah.
of.
Basically, they're crime fighting partners.
Oh no.
Yeah.
The ape fought crime. That's so sad. I just thought it was like an old friend from Africa.
Yeah. No, I
I
think
mean, he does talk about his other friend that like died over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
No, I think that they specifically worked together. Also, kind of the implication, to me at least, was that like the reason that the ape was like so like evolved essentially close to a human was that uh he like fused a human and an ape together. But then I was all like, that seems like against somebody's will, and also like then it would
It
be
feels like it would be more obvious.
yeah.
Because, like, when he
Yeah.
finally does do it, then, like, yeah, they're like, this ape is weird looking.
That's true.
The thing about it, I'm trying to remember what I was specifically gonna say. Because, oh, yeah, yeah. So he's trying to do it, like, fusing somebody with a cockroach, I guess, and the cockroach, like, wreaks havoc, and then he tries to fuse all the monkeys together, like, more than one thing.
Oh yeah, okay.
And
Actually,
that goes horribly.
That's what I was getting at was way earlier, but then I got distracted. So I thought that it was that somehow he could not only control the half man, half cockroach, but he could also like simulate his powers to the cockroach. But then the cockroach wasn't as good at using them because it's a cockroach man. And so
I
that
don't know. I don't think so. Like, there's a specific line I think Animal Man says where it looks like he tried to fuse. This is a failed attempt at trying to fuse more than two things together. Because he's
Okay,
so used to doing like two things, it's pretty easy.
gotcha.
Just whoop.
Yeah. Okay. That does. I think I remember that line too. Then.
I
Um.
think that's why I have trouble with the whole fact where it's like the escalation where he like fuses the cockroach and the guy together, fuses the guy and the rat together, and then just breaks into the place and like is able to just storm his way out because it's just
Yeah.
like a laboratory and the scientists are like, what the heck? Just jumping out of the way. But I
Yeah.
guess that also spells back to like he's very much shown to be kind of out of control, unable to like think straight. Like he sees somebody, goes, "That guy looks like my friend, but he's not my friend," and he's like confused because he's thinking of
Mm-hmm.
his friend who died already. So he's very much not in touch with reality. So I guess that plan is just what his mind came up with at the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Like you're just gonna get more screaming in your head when you fuse all those monkeys that are already screaming together.
Oh, that's so messed up. They never talk about what they did with those monkeys, did they?
Yeah. No, they didn't. Like he got his revenge on the doctor, but did he go back and unfuse the monkeys? We'll never know.
Did Animal Man unfuse the monkeys while he was like curing him of anthrax?
I don't know if he. I can't remember how long he has to hold on to his powers. Actually, they do kind of when he's doing his like Animal Man get back into shape. They do have some stats on like how long he can hold on to certain powers. Wasn't it
But it
like
seems
30
different for
minutes?
every single one. Yeah, so.
Yeah. But basically, yeah. So he cured himself and the White God of anthrax in the zoo. So, um, yeah, it'd depend on how long it could take him to get back to the lab, I guess.
Yeah, that kind of bothered me, the fact that I'm forgetting now because there's so many different things that happened. It's very jumbled together, the first part.
Yeah, what are you thinking of exactly?
I was thinking about something with his powers. It's okay.
Oh, okay.
Let's keep going.
Yeah, and it looks like yeah, at least he can be below water using a fish's power for 35 minutes, so that's something at least. Um, but the other shocking thing, kind of jumping to something new, what for me was like I didn't realize like what was gonna happen, uh, or rather what wasn't going to happen to Animal Man's wife and daughter when
That was intense. It was very well written, the reaction she had to the events afterwards, like, man, but yeah, that dude like coming up on her in the woods and, pretty much not stopping and his friends like trying to stop him
mm-hmm.
and, her daughter going and getting the neighbor to help. And so the neighbor comes over, you know, brings another gun to the argument, but like, I mean, that she needs, the Animal Man's wife needs somebody on her side who's an
Yeah.
adult. And then finally, the guy's friends turn on him and
Mm-hmm.
shoot him. And that's like, that little girl. I'm really glad that little girl just like focused on the kittens because I thought
Yeah.
that would like traumatize her a little more.
I mean, I wouldn't doubt that she's at least a little bit traumatized and just like that was just a coping mechanism, like I can only focus on the cats right now and then I'll be
Yeah,
okay.
because what is it? The kittens, it was the neighbor's cat who went out and had kittens in the woods. And when the guys are like coming up on Animal Man's wife, they also grab the cat and like feed it to their dogs.
Yeah.
And the little girl sees that, and then also the little girl sees the guys turn on their friend because he's about to like hurt Animal Man's wife, and they shoot him. So the little girl also saw that.
Yeah. And then on top of that, they get home, finally safe, but they're gonna take care of these kittens, and all but one of them dies.
Those kittens. Yeah, that was really quick for those kittens.
Yeah. Um,
I
I
think
don't
I think
know.
it was a little bit of comic book stuff cuz like I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's my only knowledge of how long baby kittens can be away from their mother is like based on media where they die, and that's a
I was
plot
going to
point.
say for me it's like it's puppies instead cuz like I
Mm,
had to raise my two puppies from the moment they were born.
mm-hmm.
So they did were not able to feed like at first. So they survived for a little bit and then definitely I had to like, the syringe and everything. But I'm glad that one kitten survived.
Yeah, it's true.
But still, it's very well written that part where like the wife is reacting to the death of the kittens.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
just of all, everything's just building up, and at the very end, the kittens, even them, she can't save them. It's
mm-hmm.
very sad.
Yeah,
I
it
think I
is very
cried
sad.
at that part.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely understand. It was like just like yeah, very heart wrenching, and also like I feel like the poor family just gets like knocked around in this whole series. Like even if you read past, they just don't catch a break. I feel like. And it's not always like some superhero stories. It's like the family is always in danger because of the superheroes, life. But it's like no, sometimes like just bad things happen to them. like
One thing I will say, like, I really like about that part that you just, like, I think hit on is the fact that it's a superhero comic, but the husband doesn't come in and, like, swoop in and save the day because that's not realistic. Like, he's at his job.
yeah,
And I was also, like, worried that they were gonna do a whole, like, her, like, just under so much stress from all the events of the day. Animal Man comes home and he wasn't there to help, and her like just exploding on him because of that, and being like turning into like, oh, superheroes, you can't do everything, kind of pessimistic thing.
mm-hmm.
Which like you can see kind of it sucks. He's at his job. He can't always be there for them, but it
Yeah,
doesn't fully just hit you over
yeah,
the head with that.
mm-hmm. She doesn't put her grief and upsetness onto him. Yeah. In fact, I was even surprised that there wasn't a scene where they just like talk about it, like even just in a healthy way. I was kind of like felt like that was almost missing. I was like, did she just not talk about that? or
I mean,
like, I mean, there's
I'm
got to
sure
be.
they did, but also like I don't know what that would add to the story. Like I don't think I would have liked that.
Yeah, I guess it's true. It's just like, it's like now she's got to be part of like a police investigation.
Yeah, we don't get into that part.
yeah. Uh, just your average day to day trauma. But no, I do agree with you though. It's not necessary, and thus it shouldn't really be in the story. It's just like missing. Also, I always thought that the kid that asks for his autograph early on, like, and then he's all like, "Oh, I thought you were Aquaman." Like, I get it, but I also don't get it. I'm like, maybe it's just because I grew up in an internet age. But I'm like, how did you mistake him for Aquaman? It's
I
just
mean, it's a
like,
kid. It's like
yeah,
probably the colors. The colors is what I thought it was. Like
mm-hmm.
kind of like orange
Yeah,
and
orange and a big
green.
A on the chest and blonde hair. I get it. It's just like,
Oh, I thought you were more important. I mean, yeah, pretty much the
yeah,
joke.
definitely. Um, gosh, yeah. And then oh
Which I
yeah,
think is like. I was just gonna say it's like personally funny, just because like I'm so used to seeing Aquaman being like, well, you're part of the group, but you're also like kinda sidekick.
yeah,
Like, what can Aquaman do?
Right. That's actually a good point, a good addition to the joke. I wonder if that was because I know that, like, the Big Bang Theory really popularized that opinion of Aquaman. Um, so I kind of wonder if, like, that was around, or I mean, I feel like it had to have been an opinion before them, but I wonder how much it was strongly held, and if that was like intention versus just how the culture is now. Because I
I don't
mean, I
know, it might have
know
been
that
too early.
yeah, I know that Aquaman wasn't like the biggest deal, but at least in the '90s they kind of like did the long hair and a hook for a hand design to make him cooler.
I did not know about the hook on the hand part. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
it is pretty cool. Um,
Bring that
yeah,
back.
honestly, bring it back. Hook on the hand Aquaman is the stuff. Um,
Bucky wishes he could.
yeah, give Bucky Barnes a hook on the hand too.
A sword. Sword instead.
A sword on the hand, sword arm.
Yeah, hook is like a sword but aquatic themed, right? To me.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
Okay, sure.
pirate-ish.
Uh huh. I mean,
Anyway.
I guess pirates have swords. I don't know. Anyway, okay, I'm getting off. Going back to Animal Man's family, Buddy's family. Also, I think it's funny that his name's Buddy. It's just like
I
so.
keep forgetting that.
Yeah,
Keep thinking it's the kid.
yeah, I know his son's name is Cliff, probably short for Clifford.
Aw.
Yeah, I actually thought that before, like, because of like the when they introduced the family and the way that the panels were set up, I almost thought that Cliff was one, not a boy, and that he was Maxine, not that the little girl was Maxine. And I was like, oh,
Hmm.
okay, I see. And then I was like, oh, I don't see. That was incorrect.
Okay, so if you're talking about when the introduction was happening, with the thing with Buddy, Animal Man,
Mhm.
coming in, when he was talking to his wife, I thought, huh, who is she? Because, like, I assumed it was going to be, like, he's young adult, not married. Like, I just assumed. And she had, like, world's best mom shirt on. I was like, that cannot be his mom. They're just, like, the same age. And I was like, oh, they're married. Okay, fine, fine. That's
uh,
cool.
that would be a very comics thing to do. I feel like just like
God. It's
making.
me, your mom, a fresh 30-year-old. Happy 18th birthday or something.
Man, you're already looking like you're in your 40s.
Yeah, geez, mom. You're no longer 20. You got to watch yourself. You're 30 now.
Yeah. Gosh. Um Also, like, skipping ahead on his family though, like, this is actually like literally the end of the amount that we read. Like, Cliff getting like kind of mad at his dad because one, his bullies were teasing him about his dad, and then two, it was like the Martian Manhunter comes in and saves the day from him. It's like that was
I mean, his dad could have done something like that, but also it would have just looked like a grown man beating up some kids with
yeah.
like his tiger powers or something.
Yeah, for real. Like, there was no way to intimidate the kids, like, yeah, Martian
The
Manhunter
Martian
happened to
Man's
have.
thing of like pretending to be Cliff and then turning into like scary monster was like perfect for
Yeah.
dealing with kids.
um, but yeah, so I was just like, that was uh, I liked that, you know, but also it was like, I liked it, but it was sad just because, you know, I want the family to have a good relationship, I guess.
Cliff literally said to his dad, "No thanks to you." Like, he's your dad, Jesus.
Yeah. Um, Oh yeah, also I feel like we didn't talk about the arm part enough. Like, it's not that Animal Man's arm does not just get lopped off and that's it. He's like basically about to pass out from blood loss after it gets lopped off, and then he's able to reach down, way down beneath the asphalt and concrete in the city to the earthworms in the dirt below, which I'm like also I'm kind of curious, are earthworms like really that low in the dirt, you think? Like,
I mean, well, I think it was just hard because it's city, like, so there's concrete between him and them. But
yeah.
I mean, earthworms only really come up because of rain, right? So
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that's. Hmm. And I guess,
they'll
like,
go wherever they want.
yeah, I guess they could go down as far as bedrock, and then it'll be. So, yeah, okay, anyway.
Looking for nutrients. But
Yeah.
that moment, so there's a lot of parts in Animal Man where there's a lot of prose in like the narration,
Mm-hmm.
and most of the like there's some parts where I liked it and there's some parts where I was like, it's a little bit much. Like I just want to be in this story right now instead of like hearing him describe how he did it and not shown on the panel, which like happens sometimes. But
Right.
with the earthworm thing, I liked that. Like he's talking about like just reaching out. He's with his powers. He's trying to look for anything to use. There's a cat over there. There's this over there, and then oh, earthworms, and just the idea clicks, and
Mm-hmm.
just in time, really pushed to the edge.
Yeah. That, and yeah, that, you're right. That was really cool, narration. Also, though, I'm like, do, like, so earthworms, like, I almost was all like, wait, wouldn't he, like, make a body double, though, too? Like, clone himself?
I like thought that was gonna happen. I thought his like arm was gonna come back, but then the other arm that's like laying over there was just gonna like turn into a second him.
Yeah.
So excited for that. Ah,
Actually, though, I even if like technically in the like if this power was real, that might happen. I can see why they didn't do that. More than just like overcomplicating the story, but also I think that later on in the story they do something like that with a different, living thing. And so yeah, that's
are you
he
talking about
can.
the mirror part?
No, not in the mirror part. It's later on in Grant
Oh,
Morrison's run, but part that we didn't read.
okay.
Um, yeah, I guess I'll spoil it a little bit. He like basically can take on he discovers after restoring his powers that he can like even take on like bacteria.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I mean that makes sense. I feel like he talked about he wasn't being a superhero for a lot of his time. Like he half the time he didn't put on his like costume and go out and fight crime or whatever his wife says.
Mhm.
And like what was he doing in that time? I guess just not using his powers. I feel like Amoeba would be like the first thing you'd discover. Like there's a little germ on my couch or something
Yeah.
and I'm syncing with it.
Yeah, I feel like it would probably just be a matter of like needing to fine tune it. Like there's lots of them, but it's not like a big object. But yeah. Also, yeah, it seemed like, I feel like that's another element of Buddy's character though, is that he's like he's probably kind of a stay-at-home dad, but it's not like he's a very good one. It seems like his wife kind of just does most of like the having a job and doing the housework and stuff.
I think I thought you were gonna say like part of his character is a little bit of like being clueless or like I don't know if clueless is the right words. Some sort of
Maybe
naivety.
aloof might
Hmm.
be right.
Yeah, something of that sort. Where he just like if he had just focused, maybe he would have seen some of this stuff or figured this out quicker.
Right, right. Yeah. I agree with that. I guess I was just hearkening back to earlier when we were talking about, like, what does he even do when he's not being a superhero? And it's just like,
Exactly.
I don't think he's doing anything, really. He's just like...
I mean, he's nice. Like, the first scene is him saving the neighbor's cat
Mm-hmm.
by just, like, going in the tree and saving the cat. Um, but yeah, he comes back to his wife. He's like, yeah, I saved the neighbor's cat. And she's like, that's great, honey. He's like washing dishes,
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
She's a storyboard artist.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was really cool, too. It's just like...
That's cute.
Yeah. And, like, you know, basically, like, implying that she was working on Disney's Tarzan, or had worked on it already.
Oh, yeah, the part with the Martian, guy. Forgetting his name.
Martian Manhunter.
Where, like, this the cat starting to grow up, the kitten that they saved, the one kitten they were able to save. And, like, Buddy's just busy playing with the cat. He can't even answer the door.
Yeah.
That's definitely, I think, like, shows his personality to some degree. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't have bad intentions, but yeah, he's just a little bit not helpful sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Also, you just reminded me when when Martian Manhunter is there, Maxine, Animal Man's daughter, calls him, like, Marshmallow Man or something.
She draws the picture of him, and it does not look like him, but I love it.
That was so
Very
good.
cute.
Yeah. Oh, I know what we should talk about actually now because we haven't mentioned it at all. What did you think of the story that was the Coyote Gospel?
Even when I was reading it, I was gonna be like, oh, man, I don't like that they chose those eyes for this coyote. They could make it much more scary by just changing the eyes. It looks like Beastar's character, or like Looney Tunes, I was literally gonna say. And then it's like, oh, the big reveal. Oh, okay. Literally, it is that.
Yeah.
Which I don't mind, but also, I guess I was kind of confused.
Yeah, it does seem like kind of just out of nowhere and unconnected to everything else. I would say that it basically is going to be kind of continued on throughout the rest of the series. But yeah, it's just like really kind of weird and interesting. It's just all like, yeah, I'm just gonna put Wile E. Coyote as the center star of this issue, but not actually call him Wile E. Coyote. And
Okay, but the back of the book literally says, like, the wolf is the bravest and saddest creature in the world, you know, for that story specifically. In fact, well, he's the savior of the modern world, and he's prepared to die endless, horrible deaths for the sins of the violent world around him. And then, in a brilliant moment of revelation, Morrison makes plain who is really behind the killings and who really benefits from it. I didn't get that part. Like, who's behind it and who benefits from it.
so I would say that the artist, because it's like, you know, he's painting in the blood of the coyote at the end with a giant brush.
Can you say that again?
Yeah, I think the implication was that the artist was the one who benefits because he's painting in the blood of the coyote with the giant brush at the end. You
I
hearing me?
don't know. I mean, I sort of hear you.
Okay.
It's a little bit jarbled.
So like
Just internet stuff.
yeah. But I mean, it was supposed to be the artist at the end. I think.
Okay, I'm like trying to think of the ending. Also, yeah, it does have the artist's hand, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's like, cause like basically, so I'm trying to think about it too, because like the coyote was originally like an actual cartoon character, but then he went up to like heaven and talked to the god of that realm, and like it was just the animator or the artist or whatever, the
Yeah.
cartoonist, and then he was like, I'm not going to send you to hell. I'm going to send you up to the higher plane of existence.
Well, didn't he say I'm gonna send you to hell above?
Yeah, or something like that.
It was like I was like, what? Like, because it it's a violent world in a very different way from the one he's used to. That's really interesting. If it is the artist who's like the one who's, I mean, responsible for and also benefits from, that could be like a really interesting commentary on, how much violence artists put in their work and like sometimes, sensationalized, you become desensitized to it because people are like, oh, well, this will grab your attention, but it's almost needless in some ways.
Yeah, and I think like also, so Morrison is like basically kind of so he's doing a lot of stuff in this book that's like pretty like we've talked about all the cool like action and story and stuff, and then like my brain just like completely threw out the other cool things that he's doing for a second, because it's like, so in one way he's saying, okay, if Buddy Baker, Animal Man, can take on animal properties, but also he can take on the properties of other humans with special powers. That means that, humans are animals, which, like, duh, they are, but, like, in this world, they are connected in that way, very.
They literally have a scene where Buddy argues with someone, why should rats have to die so we can test things for humans? And, his friend, of course, is like, well, what's a few rats for like saving a kid's life? And he's like, it's not really our choice, place to decide whether a rat is more, a kid is more important than one rat's life.
Exactly.
Which, like, I think totally goes into what you were saying.
Yeah, that is a perfect encapsulation. And then so it's like, so it's like how artists, especially comic book artists, put kind of senseless human violence, but then also how, like, Looney Tunes has senseless animal violence. It's like, and both are benefiting off of that animal violence. It's all like, the more we say, oh yeah, animals can just be like killed, but there'll always be more. They'll always come back.
As long as it's not humans.
As long as it's not humans, yeah. But
God,
but then
Tom
we have
and Jerry, but humans. Don't think that'd work quite the same, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, think about it though. If you're equating it to superhero fiction, they always come back. They never get hurt. So yeah, it's kind of like the action star. It's like, so yeah, I think that it works in both ways of like, we shouldn't be so violent to humans in our media because they are, a life, and that can like, influence others to like enact real violence. But then it's also like animal violence in media has the same effect of being more violent to other animal lives.
I feel like this one in particular, because they use like Looney Tunes kind of style characters,
Right.
it's very
yeah.
much also about like kids specifically. Like, you're always showing the superhero getting out of the bind. Oh, he gets thrown off the side of the building, but it'll be okay. It'll always be okay. Which, like, it isn't. And, like, you can't. If that's all you see, then that's all you know. But then also the other side where it's just like, oh, you'll never survive. Get thrown off the side of the building and then just show it. It's like, did you have to show it? You need to think about the reason why you're doing these things, why you're writing this, not just to get attention, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that also, like, so that goes into, like, Buddy decides, gosh, yeah, okay, this is another, like, conflict between him and his family, it's like, he's just like, yep, today's the day we're gonna become vegetarians. It's like, you can't just throw out all the groceries we just bought.
It's like also, yeah, isn't that kind of senseless? Like, cook it for
Yeah.
somebody else, use it, but don't continue to buy it, sure. And also, yeah, it really does show again Buddy's like character and like interactions with his wife. His wife is like, the problem isn't that we're going vegetarian. The problem is you didn't talk to me about this. I'm part of this, but you need to like communicate. And
Yeah.
Buddy's like, I have the box and I am getting rid of the meat now. Just
Yeah, or
straightforward.
I mean, honestly, like, this probably one of his more childish moments. He's all like, fine, you can cook meat, but don't expect me to eat it. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Absolute baby.
Yeah. Um, but anyway, it is interesting that he decides to go vegetarian, and he starts like fighting for animal rights basically after his uh, tangle with the white god of Kilimanjaro. He's and that kind of becomes his stick. Although it did feel like sometimes during this book it felt a little bit like Buddy, or no, sorry. It felt like Animal Man was like doing stuff in another series. Like, I don't think that that's necessarily true. Like, he probably did have some guest appearances in like maybe
Like
Justice.
the gene bomb, right?
Well,
That
okay,
part,
so there
definitely.
definitely that part, but like also like I'm specifically kind of thinking of when he goes vegetarian, like right before that. It felt like there was a
I
little bit of a gap
Yes.
to me.
Yes. I totally agree. There's like a ton of parts of, well, like the part with the beginning few issues, against the white god is pretty clear cut. It ends here, starts here. But then some of the later ones, which are more one shot kind of style, like the coyote one, and then
Mhm.
is it the red mask? Is that the other one?
Yeah, the death of the Red Mask.
Yes. Those ones definitely, there's sometimes it felt like they cut off abruptly or started somewhere where like I should know that something was already happening. It's a little
Yeah.
bit weird.
I agree with that, and yeah, I was like just like off. And I kind of wonder if maybe he was tied into like, because it also wasn't clear when. Well, okay, it was kind of clear. He joined the Justice League International, um, in like right at or during the invasion. Basically, he teamed up with somebody, and then they were like, "Hey, you should be on the Justice League," and then he was like, "Yeah, that's what I want, actually," or something like that. You know. So,
I do think. Okay, go.
oh, I was just gonna say, like, yeah, I would almost like to have seen some of that interaction a little bit, like in this edition, I guess. But I don't know how necessary it'd be. I don't know.
I mean, I shouldn't ask for it, but give us a panel flashback.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate flashbacks normally. I was gonna say, like, as far as the Justice League part, uh, the discussion with the Martian Manhunter,
Mm-hmm.
uh, where they talk about like Buddy admits that he's having trouble with his powers after like the gene bomb thing.
Right.
Just like many other superheroes, he's not able to focus. It almost seems like he'll
Mm-hmm.
try to take on the powers of one animal and then he'll end up with a different animal or something, like it's just scrambled up.
Yeah.
And he's also able to like seems to have like fish powers inherently, like he's able to breathe underwater now, just doesn't need to even take on any fish.
Oh,
I
was
think
that?
there was like, yeah, also flying, he's also able to fly without taking on any.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about now. I just didn't understand that part. But yeah, yeah. Okay.
It was real quick they mentioned it, which
Mm-hmm.
was a little but the discussion he has where like he admits that he's having trouble with his powers, but he's really excited to be part of the Justice League. And the Martian Manhunter is like, the reason we wanted you on the Justice League, I really like the fact that you stand for something. You're not just in it for like money or power or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like you have a cause you're behind, which I really like them highlighting that as, because previously Buddy was like Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'll just get into it. Maybe I'll get a few TV appearances towards the beginning. So, like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit changed.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I like
Oh,
that
yeah, his
too.
horrible TV appearance. I forgot about that.
Yeah, it really was. Like, you edited out all the good parts. Like,
Yeah, they just wanted to make jokes about him, of course.
mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like they really could have just like I imagine like the Tonight Show or something like with Jimmy Fallon. It's just like they could have just
Totally.
gotten an image of him. He didn't
I
say
was gonna
anything.
say.
Like he didn't need to be a guest. He really could have just been a
He
part of
wasn't even
the
sitting
monologue.
down for like an interview.
Yeah. uh that was like and like not even like a show of powers either. Like you'd think that you'd like basically have him on and also do the like the
An
zookeeper,
ant lifting a couch or something kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
could have done something so cool.
Mm-hmm. Wasted opportunity of having a superhero on your show. um, but anyway, so yeah.
I mean, like his wife said, though, there's superheroes everywhere. What do what's special about you kind of thing. I
Yeah,
mean, she
that's
didn't say
true.
that to him, but I feel like that was a little bit the implication.
Yeah, yeah. I agree, and like yeah, I think that yeah, I can definitely see what you're saying about like it's like oh yeah, well I'm sure Superman's been on a TV show and lifted a couch, and it's like like who cares now? Anybody can lift a couch. But
Oh man,
yeah.
that would
Also, I
suck.
wanted
Yeah,
to
so he's
mention.
basically
Oh,
like a B. He's like a B-list celebrity or C-list.
yeah, yeah, definitely.
I didn't even think about that. Anyway,
Also, I wanted to mention too so we mentioned the gene bomb, which was part of a crossover event on with DC Comics that was called the Invasion. But it was kind of cool that I realized the gene bomb is also what gave Crazy Jane from Doom Patrol her powers in Doom Patrol.
I just don't know Doom Patrol though.
We read that together, didn't we? With Robot Man?
Oh, Crazy Jane. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, I know who you're talking about now. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I kept thinking back to the TV show. I'm like, I haven't watched that yet.
Yeah, no,
We've read so many comics.
Yeah, it's true.
Took that moment.
But yeah, so that comic basically spins out of the Invasion storyline, and it's also written by Grant Morrison.
That's interesting. I feel like the style, probably the art style for Doom Patrol, that one specifically, feels a little bit older than this. So the story overall like gets on a little bit of an older feel. But I can
Mm-hmm.
see how they're written by the same person.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, honestly, like it was probably just like not popular enough to do it, but I kind of wish now that there was like an Animal Man Doom Patrol crossover written by Grant Morrison. That would be fun.
I think I mean I like obviously how Grant Morrison writes Animal Man. I do think there's like his powers seem too limitless. Like I want a little bit more of a scope on them, and I feel like I get behind him more because of that.
Yeah, I can see that, and well, yeah, I think that they only become uh not more powerful, but more like he gets more creative with them as the series goes on. Which kind
So
of
it's just
like
gonna branch out more.
yeah, which I mean like in one way it kind of makes sense because it's like after a while it's like how can you make this more dramatic, more interesting as far as
Man,
the
they cut
powers
off
go.
his arm like right away and did the earthworm thing like pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I don't know what can like trump that for me. That was awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah, and then like, in a similar way to Doom Patrol, later on they get a lot more existential and bring in the the god of the cart
Angst?
of the comic world. Yeah, and angst. Yeah. I feel like though, like basically once Grant Morrison leaves the book, it gets extra angsty because they're like whoever takes over is like that's what was selling. And it's just like, oh no.
It wasn't any deep, nuanced look. It was the fact that everybody was upset always.
Yeah. um, but yeah, also
I
like,
yeah, so I
uh,
think that is something I really do like about this book. Like consistently, the reactions to certain events, the effects they have on the character, that isn't too overblown. You know, it's definitely like there's a lot of parts where it's very sad, melancholy, but it's just doesn't. It's not for no reason. They're reacting to something in a realistic way.
mm-hmm. Yeah. Also, so we are going to take a quick break, real quick, listen to some songs. But we will be back in about 5 minutes. So stay tuned for more of the comic panel on KSUA 91.5 FM. All right, welcome back, everybody, to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
And we are in the last 15 minutes of our show today, but Jake was able to join us. As a reminder, for those of you who are just tuning in to our program, we read Animal Man, Volume 1 by Grant Morrison. Um, so, yeah, Jake, do you want to? You were kind of starting to talk to us during the break about your thoughts on Coyote Gospel, and we were just finishing our thoughts on it, so it's kind of a perfect transition.
Do you like the coyote doing the Jesus, cross, arms on the cross pose on the road at the very end?
As like I do like it as like a narrative device might be the wrong word, but also like as a send up of like man, like every Superman movie has that shot where he's like arms outstretched, like he's over the earth or he's like just finished lifting up some big thing and it's like all right, cool. Superman is Jesus. Like I get it.
Yeah,
And so like for that to be from Superman to this weird cartoon coyote is it's a nice kind of spoof, I thought.
okay, that's an interesting pull. I wouldn't have thought of that personally. I
Does
But yeah,
Superman really do that a lot?
yeah,
all the time.
all the time. People love to visually compare him to Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Like I don't think he loves it, but man, the people who are writing him love it.
Yeah. Um, so what did you think of that issue in general, though?
I like stories where the protagonist that you have been introduced to has absolutely nothing to do with the story that's going on. Like Animal Man shows up at the beginning. We get some like transition panels with him flying, and then like almost at the very end, like he meets the coyote and he's like, "I don't understand." Like I love that.
Yeah.
That part, that was actually really sad. Yeah, you come all this way, you've been through so much, you're dying over and over again. You're going through so much pain in this world in order to deliver this message. It goes, I can't read this.
Yeah.
Just like, no.
Man, I can't say that I remember what happens with that.
Silver bullet,
Well, no,
of course.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean what happens like past the Coyote Gospel, like with that element of the story. But I'm like, man, does Animal Man even hold on to that document, or is it just like gonna be blown in the wind and just like completely like
If it doesn't come back, that would have been such a good shot of him just like, oh, crap. Like, just blows away.
like, well, I couldn't read it anyway. I don't know what this was about. Yeah, that would be. Okay, so the issue that we haven't talked very much about is the the death of the Red Mask. I almost said the Mask of the Red Death. Different. um, So yeah, that one kind of it focuses on an old supervillain, like basically a C-list supervillain. So it's another kind of not a foil necessarily, but it's a comparison to Animal Man in a way where it's like, there's the white god of Kilimanjaro, which was like, you know, in the same ranking of superhero that he was in, and then now there's the C-list supervillain, I feel like, but he's old, and
I feel like he shouldn't be C-list. Like, that's a pretty intense power. You just touch him.
it's
Yeah, it's
but also think you were just saying the Animal Man's power seems pretty OP too, but doesn't change the ranking.
Oh yeah, we also were like, I wonder if Animal Man can just like take on someone's like writing skills, running skills. Like, where does it end?
oh okay. Yeah, because I guess like we kind of see that with the at the beginning when he takes the oh man, I forget. He's got that weird like double B name.
Yeah, so we just called him the White God.
Oh, okay. Man, but like White God doesn't really roll off the tongue very well. I don't like saying it.
I thought he was gonna be called the Beast because they literally just kept
Oh.
calling him the Beast until it
That's
was
kind of
like,
what I thought.
Yeah,
But
that would
yeah,
be an
so
okay
we kind of
thing
see
to
that.
do.
But
he
I
just
mean,
takes
like,
the dude's powers because the dude is a human, which is an animal. So like, Cody
Yeah.
was like, why doesn't he just take Superman's powers?
does it work on aliens?
Actually, you might be right about that. I think I'll have to get back to you on that question when I read the Secret Origin issue, that's in my book,
Hmm.
at home. But
What constitutes an animal?
yeah, I think
Does that have to be on
that
Earth?
because I think Buddy is under the impression that his origin was an accident, but I'm pretty sure what it ends up being is the aliens were experimenting on him.
Oh.
But
Okay, so the way Buddy recounts it, I totally thought like the aliens just like ran their spaceship into him and he like touched it by accident and just like got powers from that.
right, yeah, or it's something like that. Like there was a bomb that exploded accidentally, giving him powers, or something like that. But and that's the way he thinks it is. But I'm pretty sure that's why secret origins. Basically, I think that the aliens did it on purpose. And so they specifically like tuned it to only Earth animals.
So the aliens did it on purpose, but Buddy's just too dense. Once again, maybe to no, I don't know.
No. They also didn't tell him or give him any signs that we were on this. They said he set it up.
Oh, okay.
So he would just think it's an accident too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chosen by God, but instead aliens.
True. But for what purpose? I don't know. Anyway, though.
Anyway, the red mask.
The red mask, yes. So yeah, he was also, he got hit by an alien, or touched an alien, or an asteroid, not an alien, something that fell from space, and he got powers. He wanted to be a hero, but it turned out that he got a very villainous power of killing things on contact, including killing his dog.
I feel like I've seen this character before, but I don't know. In this specific like issue, it's done very once again like very bittersweet almost. Like he even frames it that way where he's like, I'm old, like these robots that I've like sent out to destroy the city weren't able to do anything back like in the 40s, and like you think they're gonna do anything now? Like look at them, and they're just yeah, it's like they're feeble. It's really sad, dying spasms kind of thing.
Yeah. And then like also like he was like, hey man, it's like, just kind of like I feel
always
like
wanted to fly kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
He's gonna jump off the building, and Buddy's like, "Can you fly?" He goes, "I always wanted to," like, but no, that's not the powers he got.
And then also like I feel like mental health education is like so much like more now. Because like Buddy's like, hey, I'll just like be right back. I'm gonna bring my friend who's an agent, and I'm just like, no, Buddy, no, don't leave him alone.
Buddy, can't you like lift him up and take him with you?
No, take him to your friend.
So I don't actually get the ending. Like, is it just him realizing he forgot about him?
No. It's, I mean, I think that he just, like, basically decides, so what's the point? I'm gonna do it anyway.
Well, Buddy specifically. Buddy, like, the guy goes, you know, stay safe flying or something, the police officer says to him, and, like, Buddy starts flying off, and then it's just, like, that shot of, like, black and white of Buddy being like, why would he even say that, or something like that.
That was actually him getting hit by the gene bomb, I'm pretty sure.
Well, that wasn't clear.
Yeah, I know.
Also, God, that would be so sad if that was the moment of him, like, remembering, oh yeah, that dude on the roof I'm supposed to be helping.
Yeah. I think, okay, in my book, my version, it said, like, continue in invasion or something like that. See what happens next.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't show
the one
that
I read.
on our collection, yeah.
Yeah, I see that now. I'm like, oh, that makes more sense why you guys were more confused about that. Like, I mean, I still
Well,
even
I was
with...
confused. I don't know if Jake was confused.
Yeah, and then... Yeah, because... Okay, yeah, this is what I thought, too. In the epilogue, after the Red Mask does jump off the building, basically, there's, like, a internal monologue of Buddy saying, if only I'd... And then it, like, trails off, you know? And so I think he knows at that point that, you know, he was too late.
Mm-hmm.
He had already come back to check on him, and it turned out bad.
It's a little unclear.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It could have been done better. Probably, like, so that was probably my second to last least favorite issue, if that makes sense. And the least favorite being the direct tie-in to the invasion storyline.
See, honestly, like, if I had to rank them, I would say that my least favorite would probably be, like, the first 4 issues with the White God storyline. Like, honestly, like, once we got into the one-shots, that's where it really started to, like, the book started to pick up for me. Where I'm like, oh, this is, like, really interesting stuff that you're just, like, throwing out.
I think I'm the opposite. Like, I wanted a consistent storyline. I think it's also the fact that, like I think I said it already, but the endings of those one-shot issues was very much like, okay, like, I think I get it, and then it moves on to the next one. I'm like, and it also feels like it's jumping into a spot where I don't know where I'm at, so I feel very confused.
Mm-hmm.
I also just have never, like, read anything about Animal Man before, so, like, that introduction was really, I liked that a lot, how it wasn't just an origin story, and it kind of got into the dynamics really quickly.
Yeah. Okay. And then, okay, so we're unfortunately running out of time for our program, so real quick, we kind of talked about it actually at the beginning. What were our thoughts on the art?
Love it.
I don't know. To me, it was kind of, like, bare in some places, but, like, it made sense for it to be bare. Like, kind of like some of the desert scenes where, like, obviously there's not supposed to be a whole lot going on. There isn't. But at the same time, like, nothing really stuck out to me about the art other than the bareness in those desert scenes.
I guess I should be specific in that I liked the inking of the characters, and I think the backgrounds needed some more work in, like, grounding the characters and where they were, because sometimes... Yeah, I guess bare is probably what it was, is why it was kind of confusing sometimes. Like, oh, they're over here now, or they're here. He's holding a mirror now. We did not go over the mirror part at all. But I did not like that one. That was the dumbest. I, like, didn't get it, didn't like it. Wasn't interesting how the characters reacted that much, other than his wife being like, just break the mirror.
Yeah, basically the big point of that issue, which could have been said so much simpler, was that the U.S. government has made enemy of Animal Man and are willing to hire villains to get rid of him.
Okay, but just as like an aside for a second, why would you follow somebody called Mirror Master into a mirror?
Yeah, not a good plan. Not a good plan.
Buddy thinks it through.
Yeah. We've kind of
Not at
said multiple times in this program, Buddy does not think things through all the time.
Yeah, I can say that again.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Good art.
it has been a good show. Join us next time, which will not be next week, but the week after. So, if you're looking at your calendars, it will be on May 3rd, will be our next episode, Monday, May 3rd, starting at 5, and the whole comic panel will be able to be there. So, I hope that you join us. Until then, I'm Cody.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shoenta.
And we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening. You can catch our show Mondays, 5 to 7 p.m. on KSUA 91.5 FM, the People's Radio, in Fairbanks, Alaska. Our Facebook is where you can view some of our earliest shows, as well as receive updates for when we go live on KSUA, when a new episode is uploaded to YouTube, and when a new podcast episode is uploaded. Our handle is It's Comic Time. You can listen to us in podcast format on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Podbean as the Comic Panel Podcast. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at _comic_panel and follow us on Twitter at the Comic Panel 1. Have a great rest of your day.